What a perfect week to have a series on hope, because on Sunday it was like the announcement sucked all the hope out of the room. It was a difficult way forward. It was hard to see how things were going to improve. So I'm so glad that the pastors at the church have decided to bring a series on hope for encouragement. When you've been a Christian for 60 years like me, and you've lived through a lot of ebbs and flows of life, you really need to have discovered how to grab hold of hope, and the kind of hope that keeps you on track and builds resilience in challenging times. And we really are going through challenging times in Victoria right now. So I got to thinking, what is it that I have found helpful and faith building? What is it that has helped me? And I want to share some of the stuff with you. I trust that this is helpful in your own unique walk of faith and hope. And I'm actively praying for you that you'll find encouragement and strength. Now, some of the teachings of St. Paul in 2 Corinthians give us a clue on how to live in spite of difficulties. Paul points out two realities. We're going to look at those realities, and we'll find our realities are fairly similar. The first reality is the here and now, which at the moment is throwing out a lot of challenges our way. But Paul had come through some tough times and some tough experiences, and he gives us a list of these things. And these things include being hunted down for his faith, being in a desert, dangers at sea, being hungry and being shivering cold. Not a nice list at all. And maybe our list is also challenging and expansive too, but there is good news to come, because there's a second reality. And the second reality is the spiritual reality in Jesus Christ. And that reality is bedrock solid. That's been my experience. The spiritual reality that feeds our sense of hope, and it is not subject to circumstances. Paul had discovered an amazing thing, that God's power works best in our times of weakness. Doesn't make sense, does it? But once you've experienced it, you find it's actually true. Paul says this, when I am weak, then I am strong. So he was weak. He was vulnerable. He went through some tough things, but he dug into the Lord and he found strength. So to humbly seek God in the midst of our need is to draw on someone greater, to draw on a greater strength which puts hope within us. We're not just focused on circumstances, but we are determined to focus on God, who loves us and has promised to be our shepherd and look after us. So here's my encouragement to you in times of distress and vulnerability. Look to God to pour in his supernatural strength. God's grace, the Bible says, is sufficient. That's a good thought to carry with us through difficult things and difficult times. When we look at it and say, how can I keep going? We can say to ourselves, no, God's grace is sufficient. So along with me, if you can be determined to keep on keeping on, you will outlast and come through victorious in these present circumstances. God bless you.